when you're spending money and looking for some way to quantify and justify a spend, you're looking for every way that you can, see a return on your investment. And jazz, period, these are things that traditionally aren't slam dunks. And everybody now is trying to make movies in the rearview mirror. That's why you see so many sequels and see, people flying around in armor like me in films, because these are the things that they're better bets.
Is it also part of the diversity question that's been beaten around so much that this is a film about an African American guy, and that maybe there's just the studios feel like there's not as much interest?
Yeah.
It won't be as big a payback for them on that.
Well, any movie, if they don't have the metrics that they can explain to themselves how they're going to make their money back, that has a strong foreign sales component to it, yeah, these movies are tougher to get made. So even though you have Miles Davis, who was internationally known, huge in France, huge in Japan, as far as a financier, there's still not an argument that they can make for themselves, which that's who has to make the argument. They have to make it to themselves that this is a good gamble.
Yeah. Did I read someplace that you said that it was tough to get financing for this film until Ewan McGregor had signed on
Yeah,
to
for
be
sure.
part of it? Why is that?
Well, Ewan made it go. Ewan's an international star, clearly, and a part of the answer to the question of how do we sell this overseas, specifically to the UK. He's a big UK star. So any small movie trying to find its money is tricky and difficult. And we had to crowdfund, and I had to spend my own money and call my friends and defer all my payments and, do everything else that you have to do to sort of get across the finish line. But absolutely, that casting is a component of it, and it's just one of the realities of the business. I could have perhaps cast a big Japanese star if we were going to, set the movie in Japan and try to get Japanese money, or China if we were going to do it and try to get Chinese money. But
For the sequel, Miles Davis meets Jackie Chan.
Yeah, well, we tried to actually make it in a way that it could be a sequel. The first title for it was Kill the Trumpet Player Volume 1, because we thought, well, let's do Volume 2, 3, and 4. We only took a small portion of his life.
Was this a real lesson for you in a part of movie making that you had not been that familiar with before?
Well, I think one of the fortunate things being an actor and being sort of the center of the attention of a set is if you're paying attention and you keep your eyes and ears open, you have the opportunity to learn a lot. You get to understand what all the departments are doing. And I was someone who, very early in my career wouldn't go back to my trailer as soon as I had a break. I'd go sit next to the DP and try to understand. And
absorb it all.
Yeah, and really learn, have them instruct me on what it was that they did. And the sound department, I'd go sit next to the mixer and say, well, okay, what are you doing, and how are you adjusting these levels, and what is it that you're looking for? I wanted to know intimately how everything worked. And you have the opportunity in that way really to kind of go to school. So by the time it was for me to step up and do that, either in a commercial or the television, TV, as I've directed before, I felt like I had something more than just cursory knowledge about what it is that we were trying to do.
So, is Miles Davis a genius?
Yes.
Was he such a flawed character?
Yeah.
Self-destructive? Yes, probably to all those things, right?
That's right. A lot of people, when they've said that, they're like, well, he was an incredibly sensitive and creative person through his music, but he was also this sort of destructive personality, and he was this, but he was that. I said, to me, I take the but. It's and. He is a fully three-dimensional, probably five-dimensional personality, and all of these things make up who he was and are components to this genius. And it's not something that is dissimilar to a lot of geniuses that we see in their particular fields, especially where it comes to art. They tend to live on the extremities of their emotions often, and the extremities of their life, and they kind of consume everything, and all of that goes into creating the, the piece of art that we see, whether it be a music or a dance performance or a painting, and in many ways, we get to be the beneficiaries of this tumultuous thing that they go through very often.
Yeah, and you learned to play trumpet for this role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
difficult? You were musical before, but
I played sax for many years, all through junior high school, all through elementary school, high school, junior high school, everything.
so are you just trying to learn the basics of playing trumpet, or are you trying to play like Miles?
Well, playing like Miles is a tall order, and a lot of people have
That's what I mean.
tried to do that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to freight myself with that responsibility. But I did want to learn how to play, and I did play, and I do play the solos in the movie. Now we're going to use Miles' sound, obviously, not going to use me. And other times, Keon Harold, who's a great young trumpet player coming up now, plays, and actually he plays two parts. He plays Junior's trumpet, and he also does the sound for Miles. But it was important to me to learn how to play and to have that facility and to have a real understanding. And at some point, in Miles' development process, he was as bad as I am now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be somewhere on the continuum, somewhere on the scale to actually do what he did. I wanted to do what Miles did and be what Miles was, as opposed to just kind of doing a instructional manual about his life.
So I wonder if the pressure is on you right now, because when you were on the Tonight Show the other night and played with the Roots, I wonder if there's like, well, let's get this guy in here who thinks he's Miles Davis. Let's see what he's got.
No, it wasn't that at all. I actually asked to sit in with them,
cool.
and I wanted to play with them, and then you're there, and I'm like, why did I ask to do this
Yeah.
again? It's like when I play in these, golf pro-ams, and they're like, and on the first tee, for me, you're like, why did I want this pressure?
Why am I doing this?
Why am I doing this? And especially because I told them, I said, I want to tuck in and just kind of sit in the section, and I show up, and they're like, no, you're the guest, so you're front.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was trying to hide.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the sweet spot and just kind of be in the middle like I was when I played sax,
Right.
but no, they put me front and center, and yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but it was also in a way sort of comforting, and kind of felt like once I relaxed and chilled out that this is an experience, I grew up playing in bands. This is an experience that's kind of familiar and feels kind of nice,
Right. You looked really cool. If you were nervous, you looked
Well, thank
amazingly chill with the whole
That's
thing.
half the battle.
Yeah. So when actors go on the Tonight Show and they have to play these games with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I forget which game that you played, but you did really well with it. But don't you go there to talk about your movie and like to interview? But do they say, well, we want you, but you got to play this game?
No, they don't say
what's
you
that?
gotta ever anything. They say, would you like to? And I love Jimmy, and we always have fun. And it's like, yeah, I'll do whatever Jimmy wants. Like the first time I met Jimmy, we were at a party after a Saturday Night Live performance, and I'd never met him before. And so I see him across the room, and I kind of give him a head nod. And he starts walking over to me, and he starts taking off his shirt. And I was like, whoa. And he said, oh, I totally misinterpreted that look. I'm sorry. So he's out of his mind. And then he and Philip Seymour Hoffman and John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell and I spent like about an hour trying to see who could do the most absurd entrance into a party. So like, I just hit it off with Jimmy right
really
away.
fun.
So whatever he wants to do, I'm down for.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Do you make movies like the Captain America, the War Machine, like some of these huge big blockbusters, so you can do movies like the Miles Davis movie, little art movies and specialized projects? I imagine you like both, but does
there's
one
something
enable the other?
Well, it definitely allows me to, not make any, in fact, spend money on this movie and still be all right and make my nut. But yeah, they're totally different experiences. And as an actor, it's something, that I've always wanted to do, is make it as elastic and have as many experiences as I could. So the big ones are great and different, and the little ones are really labors of love, and everybody's there for the love of that project. And yeah, they're just different experiences.
Yeah, they're waving me off here, but House of Lies, you got to be having a blast with that still,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, we're in 5th season. April 10th, we come back.
Are you guys actually going to shoot in Havana?
We did.
You did already?
Yeah, the season's over. We start airing April 10th, and that was fascinating, amazing. You know, Obama called and said, "Hey, you go check that out for me," and I was like, "I'll let you know where the good
You're
restaurants
the
are."
front
and
man
everything.
for Obama.
Yeah, no doubt.
Love it. Love you, man.
Thank you.
You're the
man.
greatest. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
You too.